Hey.
Hi there.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay.
That's good.
What's going on this fair morning?
I feel like a gladiator. I took some, Primatine, the caffeine tablet.
Yeah.
And, some super male vitality.
Oh.
There's just my bloodstream is a chemistry set right now.
Pure tiger blood.
Tiger's blood.
Yeah.
How's it going on that end of the world?
All right. Woke up about 20 minutes ago. Just started drinking my coffee. So.
Yes.
I'm coming around to the world.
It has begun.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Do you have any new revelations that have happened since we talked last time?
Well, yeah, I guess I could tell the audience. My podcast partner, gave me a book to read called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
Yeah.
Something like that. And, it's a very insightful book. I highly suggest it. It's a short read. Wouldn't take you long. But it definitely, since I can't remember if on this podcast, the last one, we were discussing my so-called existential crisis. Yeah. Because of my diving into Plato's cave allegory and simulation and simulacra and the whatnot, and just, having a little bit of a breakdown because, wasn't sure about reality anymore.
Right.
But I'd say this book definitely kind of, even, it doesn't necessarily reaffirm my ideas about whether this is real or not, but it definitely recentered me on, like, being able to handle that kind of information. So now I'm back to a good place.
That's good. We wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, balance has been brought back to my psyche.
Superb.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's a great book. I highly suggest it. You know, but now it centered me, but I also have some other, like, now I have a name for the reason I don't like going to work.
There it is.
You know what I mean? There's a name.
Right.
There's a name for it now. It's not part of my personal legend.
Yeah.
And my heart constantly tells me not to go.
It's almost like, to use the Alchemist reference, it's like waking up the morning that the boy is getting ready to leave the crystal shop. He puts on his finest white robes and his traveling outfit. He's ready to leave. You wake up like that every morning, except you still have to go to that fucking crystal shop.
Yeah. There's no pyramids. Or the pyramids, you just can't go to them yet.
Yeah.
You haven't raised enough money to go to the pyramids yet.
See, we keep getting into this, and it just mirrors my own thought. We always talk about, like, what it would take to be able to leave there as far as money and benefits and all that stuff. But the universe supposedly always makes a way for those who try.
That's
but
true.
I guess it just boils down to the fact that I'm a coward.
Well, my logic behind it, you're not necessarily a coward. I feel like the opportunity hasn't truly arrived yet. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Even the book, it says when you feel that moment, like that intuition, act on it.
Yeah.
Because that's your heart telling you this is what you need to do. But, so it hasn't happened yet. But I feel like eventually at that place, something's going to happen that's just going to totally, it's going to tell me, hey, leave. This will crush your soul if you continue down this path. I'm not there yet. My soul still exists, and I think it's like my reaffirming that my soul still exists is what keeps me from wanting to leave that place.
Right.
But that place isn't literally soul crushing. I call it soul erosion. It just slowly erodes it over time.
Well, hopefully the universe will line it up to where, our rowing ship shows up at the same time to take us to our main fleet, and we can burn the rest of our ships in the harbor.
Oh, I plan on scuttling the fuck out of it.
I want to combine a hashtag dicks out for Harambe with a, walking into the quote-unquote principal's office and just looking at him with my dick out for Harambe and say, in nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
Yeah. And then leave.
Peace out, bitch.
Drop the belt on the floor.
Yes.
Literally and figuratively.
Look at it!
You see this? You're never going to see it again.
Right. And you wish you never had. It's painted up like Michael Jackson, covered in glitter.
Yeah. You do like a quick, like little heel turn, just hee right out the door.
There's just some things in there that I feel like if you look at your brain like let's just give it a weight, 750-pound Jenga game, right? Some things come in there and pick out individual pieces that you'll never get back.
Yeah.
I remember working in the Butt Hut one day, and there was a particular child molester there to see his grandparents or whoever still loved him. And, you gotta strip them out, make sure they're not bringing anything in there. And when he stripped out, he did a full 360 spin and smacked his ass on the ground in the squat and cough motion. I'll never get that shit back.
No. I chalk it up to like when I was researching like existentialism, there's a part of existentialism called just absurdity.
Yeah.
Where like it's something if you're trying to work in an existential mind, you are going to see things that are utterly absurd and it's almost unexplainable. And that's part of it is you just gotta have to try to go with it. And that's something I would say is absurd in the true sense of the word.
Yeah.
There's no explaining away. I mean, I've seen a few things in there myself that either absurd or like just situations that I've been put into that were just you never thought you'd see yourself doing it.
I've got one of you that I think I might have called.
What's that? Does it involve a dry cell?
Standing in a doorway, naked, eating cake.
Yep. Yeah. That's the one. That's the one.
Yes.
Yep. Oh, dry cell watch over a watch. No pun intended.
Right.
He supposedly had a watch up his butt.
Why would he do that?
See, I guess he came back from a visit and they thought he had stuffed a watch up his butt to keep there. So they put him in a dry cell. And I mean, that's why. I mean, that was their reasoning by making me watch him for like, I was only there for about 4 hours, but I watched him for 4 hours. He refused to wear the smock that we had given him.
Because he was more comfortable in his naked body.
Yeah, he was naked.
Yeah.
And, and unfortunately during my time with him, he did in fact have a bowel movement. And when they're in the dry cell, you're supposed to check it.
Yeah.
So, I have, like I said, this goes back to the absurd. They had this like pail, and he had to poop in it. And then I had to take the poop and look at it, and see if there's anything in there. And I just kind of like give it a sideways glance, like, ooh. And the supervisor back there at the time saw that he felt I was not doing a thorough enough job of looking at said feces.
You didn't taste it. That's what he wanted you to do.
So he's like, look closer. And I just give him this look like, what am I supposed to be seeing here?
Motherfucker, there's no watch.
There's no watch. It's just poo-poo.
Yeah. Oh, God.
It's just a thing of poop. That's all it is.
Before we continue with any more of these stories, it just should be noted for the record that everything we say is made with a grain of fiction and it doesn't actually represent a real place.
Yeah.
So that anything that we say that could offend a fictional employer is null and void.
Yeah, because it's partially fiction.
And it's 100% freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Unless they want to take us off the pay roster for approximately a year and then have to pay us back pay for a year's income and then promote us twice. I don't think they want to do it.
No, they learned their lesson the first time. They do not want to see me as some sort of supervisorial level. I mean, yeah, I
think you might be like, you know how if you look at people, much like in the game of Dungeons and Dragons, you've got, evil, neutral, good, and all the ones in between.
Yeah.
I feel like we would just replace. I would be like a chaotic good couch.
Yeah. As I say, like, I'm either going to be like chaotic good or chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
I can't see and I've played Dungeons and Dragons before, and, my main character that I've played for the longest time started out lawful neutral, or lawful good. And that was fucking lame.
Yeah.
Lawful good is the lamest, cause I would be in the game and I would make a decision, cause I was kind of like the impromptu leader, cause I was like, my character was he was a warlord, so he had powers to command, and I would make decisions, and some of my other teammates would be like, "You're lawful good, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." A lawful good person wouldn't do that. So then I changed it to just neutral, all around.
Yeah.
So that I could get away with anything, because a neutral person is capable of a lot of things.
Right.
Like kind of leaning chaotic neutral though. But yeah. That's why I try to be in that place.
Well, I mean, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. I mean, some people have changed over time. Like, I feel like there's a couple supervisors that at one time I truly believe they were like chaotic evil, the worst kind of evil.
Yeah.
And over time they shifted. And then I realized that they're not evil at all. They're more just chaotic neutral. Their actions aren't they don't do it with the intent to harm. They do it simply because they need to, or they feel like they need to. They're compelled. So maybe even lawful neutral to that extent.
They're not the heroes we want. They're the heroes we deserve.
Yeah. I mean, I was in my car a couple days ago on my way to Eaton, and I got into this huge, I don't know, it was right after I finished reading The Alchemist, and I started thinking, and I started getting really, really pissed. Super, super pissed, because I thought about, the state of things right now, and how, I was like, this is, these two candidates that we have, I was like, this is our choices? This is what it's come down to? We have, over 300 million people in this country, and these are the two assholes that we've decided should run for president?
Right.
I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, this is fucked. I was seriously, getting fucking white hot pissed. This is fucking bullshit. I was like, somebody needs to do something about this.
Yeah.
And it's just, then I started, thinking about, fucking, what the fucking banks are doing, and what fucking, predatory loans to, fucking kids for college loans and shit, and it just all started pissing me off to an extent, and I can't even talk about it on this show. I'd probably get arrested.
Maybe you should get it out.
Man,
for right now, we're still protected under the First Amendment.
It's just fucking bullshit, man, how they go after these kids with these fucking loans, man.
Right.
It's not right. Anything, even predatory home lending. Those motherfuckers who did that shit and created the housing bubble should be in fucking prison.
Yeah. The only one that ended up in prison was the one that robbed from the rich, though.
Yeah. Fucking stupid ass Bernie fucking Madoff. He's the only fucker out of that fucking fuckstorm that got anything. Everybody else, they're still fucking business as usual. Those fucking pricks with their fucking predatory lending and all their fucking bullshit. He's the only one that got fucking pinched. And he wasn't even really I mean, he was fucking just running a Ponzi scheme. He wasn't even
Right.
fucking, like, he didn't orchestrate that fucking massive housing bubble that got created. He just
Right.
stole money from rich people. Like, and I'm thinking in my head, like, I don't know, I was thinking of these, like, grandiose, like, Vox Populi style things to do to, like, change things. Like,
Yeah.
and I know it probably wouldn't work, but I was like, what if just enough fucking people got tired of this shit? I was like, we all fucking collectively got together as some new party. Some fucking new party in this country and fucking pooled our fucking money and say, bought fucking Sally Mae as a collective.
Yeah.
And then fucking forgave everybody's loans.
Well, that's like trying to befriend one head of a hydra, though.
But I mean,
You know.
like, and that, to me, that would just be the starting point. Go from,
Right.
start there and go from there. Like, if you create a collective of people so strong, and I'm not even talking about, I wouldn't even want, this party wouldn't have anybody run for office. This would literally, like, be the fucking Vox Populi. So
Yeah.
parties would try to, like, beseech us to lend our power to them.
Yeah.
Just because we don't run for offices. We're simply trying to help the people. And have the, like, and I was thinking that, and it was, like, mixed into this idea that, like, because here lately I've been thinking about joining some sort of fraternal order.
Yeah.
In the literal sense. And then I started thinking, I was like, why do I want to join some fraternal order I necessarily don't believe in all their stuff? And then I thought, I was like, what's stopping me from creating my own fraternal order?
Yeah.
Where I don't have to, like, speculate whether or not, like, their intentions are true and that what they're doing isn't some stupid hocus pocus fucking devil worship bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So then it got me thinking, I want to fucking start my own fraternal order. And it's just it's gonna be based on some simple concepts of fucking being virtuous and being true and not lying and fucking being moral. It's
Right.
that simple. And I don't even care what religion you are or if you don't have any religion. You just have to be moral. Like, I was thinking about the idea, it's like, and I thought about, like, in a sense, and it does borrow a bit from, like, fucking, when you think about, like, Masons and shit like that, because I was, like, thinking, I was like, you'd have some levels that you'd have to get up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know, and I just saw the simple system of, like, knighthood, so I was like, page, squire, knight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, have to, like, take vows of fucking, of basically being virtuous, not lying to people, and being honest all the time in all your business transactions and everything you do. And by that logic, if enough people got together and did it, I think we'd live in a fucking better world.
Yeah.
Because, like, people need something to believe in.
What do you think would be, I mean, the collective power? Let's say, if we got a bunch of people to join a, you know, if the fraternal order or the secret society was so attractive that it was Fight Club-esque. Everybody wanted to join it. Everybody ended up joining it. And then we just used that collective strength and power to pick random days to not buy anything.
Oh, yeah.
And then turn off your federal income taxes.
Yeah. Well, I know African Americans tried that just last Monday, the day of the first debates. A bunch of them got together and told other black people to not buy anything all day, and, like, basically shut down a portion of about 20% of the economy.
Yeah.
Apparently not everybody did it, because if it did, I feel like it would have made big news, or it did happen and they just kind of shut it down.
Right.
It's hard saying how that system works, but I mean, I totally agree with you. Like, and that's the thing. Like, if we all fucking get together and get tired of this backdoor banker bullshit and collectively come together on it, they're gonna have to come to heel. Like,
yeah,
I'm talking about bankers. I'm talking about fucking politicians. That enough of us come together. Like, that's the problem. That we're so fucking, there's such a huge schism in the lower classes that we can't even do that. But if we did,
right, it'd be over with.
We need, and that's what I'm saying, like, bring these motherfuckers to heel. Remind them who they work for. We don't work for them, they work for us. And
there've been a lot of interesting stories about these cockbags right now too. It's following the same trail that 2008 did before the collapse, where random bankers are dying or committing suicide, and stories of. There was one I read the other day of the mass exodus of billionaires and millionaires leaving the United States physically.
Well, they see the writing on the wall, because if old Hill Dog gets elected, she at least attempt to fucking hike up them taxes, right?
Yeah.
And in the Ayn Rand fucking Atlas Shrugged's fucking libertarian sense, those motherfuckers are jumping ship because they don't want anything to do with that.
I'm gonna run this by you. Can I use your truth detector ability real quick?
Sure.
And I'm just gonna read you something, and then I want you to give me your response.
Okay.
Death in Paradise. Mystery is J.P. Morgan banker 37 and her traitor sister 42 are found dead in a €1,300 a night chalet villa after a day of drinking. Basically, they claim that there was no foul play and that a 42-year-old and a 37-year-old
died inexplicably.
They died of too much drinking simultaneously.
No. See, here's your problem. Here's your problem with that. You see, I've started myself in the trimutative here.
Yeah.
So when I read that grammar or listen to it, my logical brain goes straight to bullshit.
Horse hockey.
Yeah. Big steaming pile of bullshit. Two middle-aged women don't fucking inexplicably die at the same fucking time.
Right.
Give me a fucking break. I remember reading that too and thinking, well, at the time I'm like probably sitting at work or something. I'm like, that seems suspicious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, bullshit. All bullshit. Somebody fucking wanted them dead. Simple as that. Two people don't just die of alcohol poisoning at the same time.
Right.
If one of them had, I'd get it. It happens sometimes. You know? I mean, I've never died of alcohol poisoning, but I
should have.
I have to say, yeah, I've probably come close a few times. Like there's been times where I've laid in bed and thought, Jesus, am I going to fucking wake up in the morning?
Yeah. This is how it ends.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, fuck. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. There's no fucking way of knowing why they wanted them dead. They probably wanted to fucking either jump ship or, raise the alarm bell, and somebody put an end to that.
I got another news story I want to run by your truth detecting mentat brain.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Child prostitution decriminalized in California.
Okay, where's that at? I want to look at this. Is that
okay?
Okay, where's that at?
I found it originally on one of those clickbait websites.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't buy that, so I went to Google News search. Mm-hmm. I found one from ABC 10, a local affiliate, and they tried to explain. This is as far as I've made it with their understanding. They've said that there's such a huge problem with white slavery, and I don't mean Caucasian. I mean like sex trade. So sex slave children are afraid to come forward because they don't want to be charged. Because I guess in California and in other states, if you're underage and you get caught selling whatever parts you've got for whatever purpose, the state will charge you with prostitution, and they didn't want that, even though it's a misdemeanor. But anyway, their logic was that if they decriminalize the child prostitution from the prostitute side of things, they'll come forward and they'll stop doing it. So basically, they've made it legal for a child to prostitute themselves, and the only person that's guilty is the John or the pimp. However, if you get caught fucking a kid in any other circumstance, it's a statutory rape or any of those other felony charges. But I'm assuming in California it's just a misdemeanor. What's it called? Prostitution charge.
Okay, so basically, Yeah, from what I'm reading, I'm on Snopes, by the way, which is that's like a fact-finding website, right? Like, kind of debunk stuff.
That's the next one I was going to.
Okay, yeah.
Snopes.
Here's the thing. They're saying that, like, people are twisting the words of the law to say, like, that it's legalizing child prostitution. Now, here's the thing. They may be just twisting it, but in all senses, that's true, because it says here that the law treats child prostitutes as victims instead of criminals.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in a sense, yes, it is legalizing child prostitution. Because someone would no longer be charged with a crime for doing it.
Right.
You see,
this is why I fucking hate Snopes. Snopes is a leftist propaganda tool.
Yeah.
But it's funny because we were just talking about exactly what the law said, and Snopes says it's false.
Yeah.
But then goes on to explain that it's true.
Oh my god. Oh my god. You know, it's like, here's the thing, everybody. Listen, I'm a libertarian, so I'm more for, like, do as you please as long as it doesn't infringe upon the rights of another.
Right.
Makes sense.
Quotation, consenting adults.
Yeah, consenting adults, or, you know, anybody over the age of 18, before that, they are, you know, kids, and they should be treated like kids. And I don't think there's any way to say, like, I mean, I get they're trying to get people to come forward, but I don't know. You might be opening up a new dangerous avenue for this shit. And the thing is like, and like I said, like here in the last few years, we ride a metaphysical hill of morality, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is the further down the hill you get, the harder it's going to be to grasp this is where we need to stay. Like, some would lead us to believe we're on top of the hill right now. We're not on top of the hill. Because, you know, I mean, I'm all for gay marriage, because fucking do what you want. You're two consenting adults, right?
Yeah.
You know, get married, because I believe in the legal sense of the terms, they just, you know, they needed it. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense that two people could spend their lives together and then one of them dies and the other one doesn't get the benefits.
Right. Silly as fuck.
Yeah. So I'm all on board for that. But the thing is that we need to call it quits, like, when it's time, like, okay, this is where we want to be. This is as far as we want to go. And, you know, literally, like, not even a month after the Supreme Court decided it was okay for gay people to get married, I read this article from Germany, and mind you, it was a outer rim liberal think tank. Okay, so it's far out there, but remind yourselves that 40 years ago, the concept of gay people being able to get married was on the far, far left. Okay,
yeah,
and it finally moved itself to the center. Okay, this liberal think tank said, why do we have incest laws?
Yeah.
I lost my shit the day I saw that.
Right.
I mean, I was like, this is it. I was like, because like when like the Supreme Court decided on it, I was like, okay, I was like, that's fine. I was like, but we need to decide this is as far as we go.
Right.
I was like, we don't go any further than this. We take a firm stance. I was like, because this could get into fucking wonky, crazy, fucking end of times fucking territory if we don't morally stand and decide this is as far as we go.
They didn't come from it with from the sense of like a common sense libertarian perspective. They came at it just like you said. It was almost like they had opened the floodgates.
Yeah.
They charged through with the Trojan horse of gay marriage, which both of us agree is a fucking non-issue.
Yeah.
Two consenting adults, live the way you want. Even the most religious of people that have objection to it. First of all, we don't live in a theocracy.
Yeah.
You can't impose your morality on, any other human. But even the Bible's translation, man shall not lay with another man, comes from a Greek.
Yeah, I saw that. It's actually like, it's in reference to pedestry.
Yeah, because don't fuck kids.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because at the time in Greece, that was a common practice. it was a student mentor. They treated it like a student mentor thing, right? I mean, was it wrong in the modern sense? Yes. Back then, though, they thought they were in the moral high ground on that. They weren't, people. They weren't.
No.
Because
again, maybe it came from a good spot where they're like, we need to take these boys out and teach them everything there is to know. And somebody was like, let's teach them how to suck a dick too.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. But here's the thing. I'm coming out right now and saying it. Incest is fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not even coming from a religious standpoint on this. Nature itself rebels against incest.
Right.
It creates fucked up children. People fucking with extra limbs and can't even fucking walk and are fucking mentally diminished to the point of having IQs below 60.
Yeah, ooh-wee.
Okay? It is fucking wrong. There's no fucking way around it. Incest is fucking wrong. And 30, 40 years from now, when I'm in fucking, sitting in front of a fucking Senate subcommittee and they play this fucking tape, and they're like, and they call me a fucking bigot, I will gladly be a fucking bigot. Because this shit is fucked.
Yeah.
And besides, incest, and they're like, well, if they love each other, but shut the fuck up. No.
Right.
Okay. I'd say easily 99% of the time, every case of incest is a fucking, one person is a fucking dominant person and the other one's a fucking victim. Bullied into doing it.
Yeah. Or confused into doing it. I mean, who the fuck? I'm 29 years old. Okay? And I can remember a time when I was a child and I was dumb as fuck.
Yeah.
You could have told me the moon was made out of cheese, and I'd have been like, alright.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, sweet. These kids don't know what the fuck they're doing.
No.
And to have any type of argument that an adult can have a sexual relationship with a child is fucking crazy. And anybody that argues it should be thrown into the lion's pit. We need to bring back the lion's pit.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I'm gonna segue into another topic real quick. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's
the steering wheel.
It's all right.
Have you read the news story? First baby born via 3-parent IVF.
Yeah. Yes, I had read about that. Like, I think it was about 6 to 8 months ago. They were talking about it initially, about how it was becoming a possibility, and that they were going to do it soon.
Which means they've been doing it for 50 years.
Yeah.
Killing them off or some shit. Here's my objection. Tell me what you think about this. If you look at genetically modified crops, for instance, if you change one gene, and I'm not talking about like selective breeding, genetically modified, I mean like injecting cockroach genes into corn. You're changing the makeup of the DNA through science. You're not using breeding techniques.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what they did here. They can call it breeding, but really it's just science is all they did. But if you do it with crops, and say you change, you flip off a few switches, in a tomato or corn, and then you feed that corn to an animal, they've found that it changes the DNA. So you're fucking up the whole system.
Yeah.
Causing cancer. You're creating new genetic pathways for viruses that exist only in nature for animals, are now able to cross-jump species.
Yeah.
I don't think this is good.
No, and you're right, because, like, here's the thing, like, okay, the same genes that are in my body, parts of them have been floating around for millions of years.
Right.
Like, I'm talking back to fucking before mammals had fur. I share DNA with fucking the first fish that walked on land. Right? Yeah. The first fucking microorganism that grew skin. I share my DNA with that. Okay? Theoretically, I share my part of my DNA with plants. Because we all come from the same, like, microorganisms, right? For us to fucking change those is, and think about, like, just think about the short time that mankind's been on this planet. And we're changing the course of things that have been going on for millions of years.
Right. On a whim.
On a whim. Like, and not only the fact that, like, taking the DNA of 3 people, combining it, and making a new person, I feel like in a way shallows the fucking gene pool that much more. There's a reason we pair off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It keeps the gene pools diversified.
Right.
But if you're gonna shallow it by adding multiple people's DNA to the same straight person, you're shallowing the gene pool that much more. I mean, when's it gonna end? I mean, I know, like, here's the thing, like, 50 years ago, during the birth of, like, the first, like, genetic research and stuff like that, like true genetic research. I'm not talking about Nazis, which they were kind of figuring it out, but they hadn't gotten there yet, right?
Yeah.
The first true genetic research showed that, like I said, we're made up of virtually the same stuff that everything else is made up to an extent. It's a signature. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's an earthbound signature for most of us. And to mess with that, I mean, you think about 50 years ago with science fiction, and they talked about this shit already. People, like, fucking goddamn, even before genetics. I mean, Aldous Huxley talked about this shit in Brave New World, where, like, we would end the time of, like, natural birth and be in this age where people were just fucking born in test tubes and fucking and bred and designed for a very specific purpose and put into a caste system. Like, we laugh at that now and be like, oh, that's not gonna fucking happen.
Right.
Bet your fucking money it's not. Because
20 years ago, they said that the people were arguing that they would never challenge the standard of mother, father, natural birth, right? That's just crazy conspiracy talk.
Yeah.
Well, now, in 2016, they actually have schools that are teaching that terms like mother and father are sexist or bigotry. And in places like Texas, which leads the country in a lot of medical ways, they're up to 65 or some 60 number percentage of cesarean section births. They're trying to completely rule out natural birth and natural parenting. It's crazy.
And and the crazy part is that there was a time when cesarean section was only done if absolutely necessary.
Right, to save the mother or the child.
To save the mother or the child. And granted, thank God for medicine, because they figured out ways to keep both of them alive during the process.
Right.
But there's just, like, okay, I mean, I know you're reading Dune right now, and you're probably just still in the first book, right?
I think so.
But, like, there's this theory called the Golden Path. And the idea is that it's, I mean, because, like, there's different, like, sects of people, and there's some called the Tailaxu, and they basically, they clone themselves in tanks for generations. And that's all they do. They don't actually, like, give natural birth or anything like that anymore. And as far as they're concerned, that's not part of the Golden Path. Like, to find the next step in humanity's evolution, it's not going to happen like that. You're stifling our ability to naturally evolve by it seems counterproductive to say that science is slowing us down, but in a way it is.
Yeah. It's just, I can't even, if I just rapid fire read through all these articles I've got pulled up in tabs, my head would explode. Like, they've already created cross-species chimeras. I think I showed you the glow-in-the-dark pigs.
There's the sheep that produce milk that's they're laced with spider genes.
Yes, so that spider goat.
So that their milk can create, like, a hypertensile thread. Like, listen, if nature wanted us to have goats that have milk that could be turned into hypertensile threads,
Yeah.
it would do it.
A spider would have crawled out of a tree one day and fucked a goat.
And it would have been over. You know, it's whatever.
Yeah.
It would have happened, but it didn't. Like, okay. There's some medicine I look at and I say, okay, that's for the betterment of mankind. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, you know, them using, like, selective gene therapy to heal people with cancer.
Right.
That's good science. Because all you're doing is taking that person's genetic material and creating something that gives them the ability to fight off their bad cellular activity.
Right.
That's good science. You know, creating artificial limbs so that people, you know, who've lost their limbs in war or accidents can you know, be mobile again.
Yeah.
That's good science. Taking 3 people's DNA and mixing it together to make a baby, that's bad science.
Bad.
That's bad fucking Dr. Frankenstein fucking science. And the crazy part is, fucking the modern Prometheus, Frankenstein, was written, goddamn, over 200 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay? 200 years ago, she said, this shit is bad.
Yeah.
Even before she knew what shit she was talking about. Because, I mean, like, he creates them with, like, alchemy and shit. So, like, yeah, we know where alchemy went.
Right.
But even she knew back then that, like, to go against the laws of nature was bad. You know what I mean? Like, and, you know, like, there's a bunch of companies talking about how they're attempting to either A, extend life, or B, delay death to an almost permanent state.
Right.
And in my mind, like, to get rid of death would make life virtually pointless. Like, in a way where the point of living is to die. Like, that's what makes life important. You know what I mean? Would I like to live forever? Fuck yeah, I'd love to live forever, but I'm not going to. Like, I would always refuse that kind of therapy. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to live forever.
Right. We've all had psychedelic experiences.
Yeah.
I think that I've crossed the threshold with believing that everything you see in a psychedelic experience is merely a hallucination. You know, I mean, I think that I've touched on some other place, even if for only a minute or two.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to deprive yourself of the next phase, the next step. What if this is just
This could just be, think about it like this. Okay, where would you be if you believed that this was it? And this is really just the launch pad.
Mm-hmm.
You're the rocket. And you just got put on the launch pad. And you believe this was it. That's the way I always look at it.
Yeah.
There could be so much more beyond this, but just because you believe this is it, you would do something as heinous as extend your life.
Right.
Like, beyond natural terms. So when I say that, like I get it, that therapy would probably be good for, like, children with degenerative diseases and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, that's good. That's good. But if I'm starting to see motherfuckers live to be like 150 or beyond, that's bad. Nobody needs to live that long. Like, I don't even understand why people would want to do that. Like, to go through the pain of watching all those around you die. Because let's face it, if this shit comes to fruition, don't get it twisted. It's only going to be for a very select group of people.
Yeah.
They're not just going to give fucking live forever drugs to everybody.
No way.
No fucking way. No fucking way. It would be for the very they'd treat that shit like fucking, I don't even know what.
I don't even think they'd tell us about it.
Think about, like, Botox times 100.
Yeah.
And that's what that shit's good. That's what that shit's gonna be like. For all we know, they might have already started doing it, and we don't even know it yet.
That's entirely possible.
Like,
they just have,
and then, like,
we might not even know.
When somebody is getting too old and it starts to get suspicious, they just, like, go underground and then pop up, like, just anonymously for years. Just walking around, old as shit. It's what
It could even have been an old technology that's been going on for a long time. I mean, I'm sure you've seen those crazy ass, they call them time travel photos, but it could just be a genetic lineage of people that have lived forever.
Yeah.
The, celebs and different political figures.
I would never rule it out. It's not outside the realm of possibility. But, yeah.
It's heavy.
Yeah, it is heavy. I don't want to think about it. Hurts my brain a little bit. Trying to see if there's anything interesting on Drudge, but I don't see anything that, like, just makes me want to laugh. Mexico worried about influx of African and Asian immigrants. Irony.
Yeah. Seen that video of the Canada talking to the United States about the election.
What did they say?
Oh, it's a spoof video.
Oh, I think
hilarious.
I have seen that then, if it's a spoof video.
The guy's like, hey, it's your white neighbor, Canada. I know because we're white you don't really think about us that much, and that's fine because history's shown us that if you think about somebody too much, they tend to get a bomb.
Yeah.
It's like he's building a wall the entire time. Yeah. It's true, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a propensity of war.
Oh,
I'm so pissed off at Gary Johnson, by the way. I can't keep bringing it up, but every time I log into social media or I check a news site, he does or says something that makes me want to put my head through the wall.
like what was it? The most recent one where they ask him to name an influential world leader.
Yeah.
And he can't name one. Like, he could have just, he could have gaffed super hard and been like, well, I admire the tenacity of Vladimir Putin.
Right.
Like, there's nothing wrong in saying that. Vladimir Putin, all the things he is fucking tenacious.
Yeah.
Okay? So you could say that and not worry about people getting pissy with you. To an extent. Like, you can't, like, Donald Trump said he fucking admires Vladimir Putin, but he didn't, like, add anything specific in there. He just said he admires him. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of things to not admire about Vladimir Putin. So, like, when you say something like that, you just have to be specific. You could have even gone crazy and been like, well, I like Kim Jong-un's hair.
Yeah. It's perfect. He's Asian. Asians have perfect hair.
Yeah. I mean, you could have said some fucking just off the top of your head shit. But he didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm having another Aleppo moment. Like, to an extent, I almost, like, get it, because, like, he's all about, like, being, like, kind of being isolationist.
Yeah.
Kind of closing us off, so why should he know where Aleppo is or admire any world leaders?
I would respect that more if he said that instead of acting like a fucking jackass.
Yeah.
He could have easily said that. Why does it matter who I respect on the global stage? I'm trying to build up America.
Yeah.
In an isolationist style, he just kind of gaffes. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Like, how about instead of asking, like, in a way, I kind of feel bad for him because I want him to be like, hey, how about instead of asking me that, ask me, like, what my fucking economic policies are, or ask me, like, some other things that are part of my party platform instead of asking me about, like, they set him up to fail on that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like, they're treating him like a classic Democrat or Republican in that sense, where, like, they're supposed to have their ear to the ground when it comes to world politics because they like to get their grubby fingers in it all.
Yeah. They try and push the narrative like it's normal for us to be a part of this global governance.
Yeah.
Where we have, that's one thing that's in the news now that's kind of crazy is that everybody's championing, I wouldn't say everybody's championing, I guess our media is championing the idea of, like, it's a great thing that the United Nations is moving into the U.S. to help our police.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that the United Nations is going to sit and look over our elections. Fuck the United Nations.
First of all, I don't think our elections are at the top of the list of countries you should be looking at. Just saying. Right. There's a whole fucking basket of nations all over the country that you should be giving an eye towards that are part of the United Nations. Right. Not just us. Like, motherfucker, we started elections.
Right.
Like, at least in the modern era. We like, the people's elections, I should say. Like, there's been, parliaments and whatnot that were voting on things, but those were parliaments. First of all, when we came on the scene, like, those parliaments were comprised of people that were appointed, not elected. Let's not get twisted here. Understand, if there wasn't a us, you wouldn't have your own.
Yes.
It's as simple as that. Like, we've been the fucking cornerstone of your so-called organization since its inception. So mind your fucking manners. That's all I have to say about that.
It'd be funny if the United Nations took away our podcast.
Oh my God.
Because tonight, at midnight, we hand over the keys to the internet, basically, to the United Nations. Did you read that story?
Yeah. I'm hip to that.
Unless Ted Cruz can pull a rabbit out of his asshole and fix it. Apparently several states have sued.
Well, fuck yeah. Good for them. They deserve to sue. That's not a decision that should be made on the federal level.
No. Why are we... Never mind. I don't know. We're just in such a crazy time. Like,
yeah. Well, it's like last night, I got my fucking mind blown right out of the water. I was looking up... I usually look up USA Today just to see if there's any, like, big articles, da-da-da-da-da. And a big red headline comes up on their website and says, USA Today editorial board denounces Trump. This is unprecedented because USA Today has never, in its entirety, ever endorsed a candidate or denounced a candidate. They simply have reported the news. But apparently, the editorial board of USA Today find him so egregious that they came together, wrote an editorial talking about this is why you shouldn't vote for Trump. Now, I'll go on to say, I read the whole article. They go on to say this is not a This is not an endorsement of Hillary Clinton. This is simply us saying, don't vote for him. which I found very interesting. Because they have, and that's true, they have never crossed into a specific, like, area of denouncement before. Like I said, they report the news.
You don't think they're guilty of any bias or pandering?
Here's the thing, like, and they are, but the thing is they have a very large editorial staff. And they have opinion pieces on their website all the time with both sides. Like, they even, for their editorial about not voting for Trump, they even included an editorial by Mike Pence telling people to vote for Trump. So even in condemning him, they allowed another voice to come in and oppose their view.
Yeah.
Now, you look at their editorials, they're all across the board. You have, like, conservative professors and, liberal professors. You have all sorts writing opinion pieces on USA Today.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, like, if, like, the only other organization that would just fucking blow the back of my head out if they came out and said, don't vote for this person or vote for this person, would be like the AP.
Yeah.
If the AP came out and said, don't vote for Trump, the back of my head just might blow up. Like, seriously. Because that, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, another one I think of is like Politico. They lean a little bit right, but they still have pieces from both sides. And they've never gone on to condemn either candidate fully. Yeah. They just report the news.
I still haven't seen anything that I don't know if it's changed your opinion or not, but I'm not a Trump cheerleader. But based on the amount of people that hate him, not even the USA Today, but the power structure, I have to.
Yeah. I mean, if I were to do it, it would simply be based on the anarchy vote.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it wouldn't be because I believe in any of the bullshit that he said. I would do it simply for anarchy and for change, because they would not allow him to do anything.
Right.
He'd be the most, like, pushed back president in I don't know how long.
I'd like to think that it would roll back a lot of this dictatorial nonsense.
Oh, hell yeah, it would. Think about it. Like, anything that motherfucker would try to get off the ground, because people are like, well, he's going to do this, and he's going to do that, and he's going to fucking get rid of freedom of the press, and that. He ain't going to do shit. Dude, they parody him, and they make fun of him so much already. He's going to be a 4-year joke.
Yeah.
And then someone else will get elected. It's as simple as that. They're not going to let him do shit. Not that. What's that? Huh?
Hang on. Skype's acting retarded. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what that was. Go ahead. Sorry.
But they're going to push back so much fucking executive oversight over the course of, 70 years. That
it could be the symbolic burning of the phoenix that we need to be reborn.
Exactly. And, I've said it's probably going to be the death knell of the Republican Party.
Yeah.
More likely that's what it's going to be. So, I might be all for it. Let's destroy the GOP so another party can rise up.
The one thing that's got me concerned right now, in the realm of politics, I just saw this the other day. Have you ever listened to Michael Savage?
A little bit, yeah. Oh, I read a story about he was in the middle of a discussion on his radio show about Hillary being sick, or having some disease. I can't remember what it was.
Right.
And not only just they said it started in New York, and they cut off his radio show and started playing a different radio show, but eventually all across the country, all of it got shut down.
Yeah, all of his affiliates switched over to another show, and that show they were laughing about taking him off the air.
Yeah. So
that's fucked up.
Yeah.
But even he questions Trump. Like, he wants him in there for the anarchy vote, as well as to keep the Clinton monster machine out of the White House for another 4 to 8 years. But he's already questioning Trump. I forget the guy's name, but Trump just appointed him as the new something or other, and he was a Bush-era CIA head. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And he's like, why would you do that? But even he, as he questions Trump, if he talks about a certain thing with Hillary, all of his affiliates decide to drop him off the air at the same time. Is that censorship?
To an extent, but, here's the thing, you can only say it's true censorship if the government were the ones who told them to pull it out. In the private sense, they're allowed to do that. You know what I mean? That's the unfortunate thing. Now, say we have our podcast here, and we get a fucking gag order from some judge for whatever the fuck we said. That's censorship. Because we are not doing anything wrong.
Right.
At all.
Having a conversation.
Yeah, having a conversation. And let me put this out there, because I think I've said it before, folks. If you're listening, if you hear some shit that offends you, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Right. You're never going to hear a fucking apology out of me.
No.
You can't get blood from a stone. It's that fucking simple. All I'm doing is fucking speaking my mind and my truth. Now, your truth might be a different truth than mine, but that doesn't mean I'm going to apologize for my truth.
Yeah.
We
need to get back to an era of being adults.
Yeah. You get upset or butthurt by some of my language. You get triggered. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I hope you get triggered. I hope your fucking butthole hurts. I really do.
Butthole soreness. You can't get blood from a stone, but can you get blood from a sore butthole?
You can.
Okay.
And that's my point. You can't get blood from this fucking stone.
So we might try to make a new trending hashtag of #fuck your feelings.
Yeah, fuck your feelings.
That's fantastic. Well, here we are, everybody. You made it through the second episode of Bones and Tubs. And we figured this time we would leave you with an outro to let you know. That way, when it started playing All of Me, you would think, is this their song? But now you'll know. It's the end of the podcast.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can reach us at Bones and Tubs on Twitter or message us on our Facebook page. Let us know if you want us to answer any questions for you, or if you want our advice. I mean, I don't know if that's possible or not, if you'd actually want our advice, but if you do, just send us. Yeah, we will give it to you. And I just wanted to thank you guys for listening again, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.
We love you.
We do.